Daryl Ayers versus Dan Musser. So Daryl playing with no buys this weekend. Our winner in round 1. We are underway. Daryl's going to... Dan on the play starts off on a Tron land. And for Daryl, it will be Colony Garden. 0-1 not going to matter too much in this matchup, just a green source.
Really powerful card here. Just off to the races.
Yeah, and it's actually really a disadvantage here as Dan's going to Chalice of the Void on 1. For Daryl to both be on the draw and have his first land be a tap land really can hurt him in this matchup.
You prefer to get on the board, start casting Amulets or Sakura Tribe Scouts here.
Yeah, if he just could get a Tribe Scout under it, it's pretty easy for him to get to Titan on turn 4 just by tapping the Tribe Scout every turn. Now he's going to have to do it with cards like Explore, but that's possible. He does have one.
Yeah.
So Explore puts Slayer's Stronghold into play. Daryl will make Gruul Turf and pick up... We'll see which one he actually picks up. The plant doesn't matter, so he might pick up Slayer's Stronghold because it enters the battlefield untapped.
Right. Ayers does have one main deck copy of Engineered Explosives. A couple ways to find that in Telerio West. So without getting this Chalice off the battlefield, it's going to be tough to cast a lot of cards in his deck.
Or he could just draw it.
It's pretty nice
and
too.
And that is nice. So Engineered Explosives for 0 on the board.
It's going to kill his plant token,
Yeah,
though.
you probably got to watch out then. And for Dan, this is really one of the best things Eldrazi Tron can do. Win the die roll, Chalice for 1 on turn 2, and have Natural Tron hitting a bounce land. This is really hard for Daryl.
Yeah, just a turn 3 Karn. This deck does not play as many Karns as the older green Tron decks, but it still plays 2, and it still has them on turn 3 sometimes.
Yeah, Daryl's just going to pick up the cards. He can't deal with it.
Yikes.
He did not have the untapped land to even crack the Engineer Explosives to take care of the Chalice, and that's going to do it. I mean, people who blow up your bounce lands, that's just really mean.
It's really unfortunate for you. When you don't have the Amulet or some way to play additional lands, you're just losing so much tempo.
So we go to the sideboards. We're going to look first at Daryl Ayers. 3 Dismember, 2 Pyroclasm, 2 Tireless Tracker, 2 Swansong, 2 Relic of Progenitus, a Hornet Queen, a Rurikthar, a Thragtusk, and a Cavern of Souls. That'd be his 3rd Cavern of Souls.
Not a ton that you have for this matchup. You could, if you're worried about Chalice, you could reasonably bring in a Swansong. Or actually, no, that covers enchantments.
No, it's enchantments. That's
can't
it for
do that one.
Moon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the full Spell Pierce. Yeah, that even less. Hornet Queen goes wide, so that one's reasonable here.
Yeah, you're going to want something that Hornet Queen comes in against decks that can't reasonably answer it.
You're right. If you had some cards you wanted to shave, you could Dismember Thought-Knot Seer.
Yeah, so Thought-Knot Seer can be hit by Dismember. That's probably fine. There's not too much he wants here, to be honest. The Cavern of Souls could let him play a Tribe Scout through a Chalice of the Void. That's a pretty narrow situation.
He's already got some in the main deck as well.
What we might see out of Daryl here, he's playing 29 lands in the main deck, and they're not really all for mana production. A lot of them are spells, really, when the deck's concerned. So some of these are bad. We talk about like sideboarding out bad spells. You might see Daryl get rid of, say, the Colony Garden in this matchup, and the Bajuka Bog.
Sure.
Those are spell lands that don't play against Eldrazi Tron. And if he brings in some Dismembers, that's pretty reasonable. I don't really expect to see too much sideboarding outside of that.
Yep.
On Dan's side, 3 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Warping Whale, 2 Blightherder, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Ratchet Bomb, 2 Spatial Contortion, and 2 Sorceress Spyglass.
Not a ton that comes into play here. The Sorceress Spyglass could be reasonable.
Yeah, you can name Teleria West with Sorceress Spyglass, which is not horrible. It makes the Titans not chain. The card I actually like, and it depends on how much Dan has played against new. So if you played against Amulet Bloom and Amulet Titan, there's actually a little different ways to sideboard against this. Spatial Contortion is a very reasonable sideboard from Dan Musser, though it wouldn't have been against Amulet Bloom. So the difference is that Titan has 4 Tribe Scouts and 4 Azusas, whereas the old decks pre-banning had 1 Azusa, nothing else. Spatial Contortioning a turn 2 Tribe Scout, A+, and you're pretty into it. I think if Dan's played the matchup, I think he'll go for that.
Sure.
And again, it's not the matchup that you play all that often.
Right.
So we'll see.
It's also pretty low impact in a lot of the games.
Yeah. So get ready for a second game here. Now, you can follow the SCG Tour over on our YouTube page. We have full videos of our Open each weekend available on that. They get posted around midweek, so you can see all the matches you may have missed today. In addition, we have content from our website over at StarCityGames.com. We have our Split Second, our Versus series, our Commander Versus, Magic Online playtesting from some of the top Roanoke pros, and more. You can subscribe today at youtube.com/StarCityGames.
Looking at opening hands. Some hemming and hawing, but I think we got to keep on both sides.
Yeah, we do. Turn 1, Amulet of Vigor from Daryl. Unlike Amulet Bloom, Amulet Titan doesn't have too many fast wins. The double Amulet draws are still the ones that you have to watch out for.
And heads up start. Dan
Yeah.
does start on Chalice on 0.
Yeah, so if Daryl's payoff card is a Summoner's Pact and not a Primeval Titan, this could catch him. He'll go to 22 off Radiant Fountain, cast Explore. Can't do anything much. There's no turn 2 here yet. He'll play Grove of the Burn Willows and put another Amulet into play. And now you really do need to watch out. A Primeval Titan is just going to explode here.
It's also kind of funny. Daryl's answer to Chalice on 0 is Engineered Explosives. And you can cast that with colorless mana to still hit 0s, which is a pretty cute trick.
You can use the Radiant Fountain to get rid of it. So now the check is, does he have Primeval Titan? He'll play Azusa and just say go. So maybe he does, but he has no bounce land yet. Warping Whale from Dan Musser takes care of the Azusa. Now Daryl is at 20. He missed his Radiant Fountain trigger. That's very unlikely to matter.
Sure. Yeah, matchup not really about racing. It's about establishing control, lock pieces for the Eldrazi Tron player.
Well, speaking of missing land drops, Dan's going to do it too. 4th land from Daryl is Gemstone Mine. Passes. He's looking for any land that enters the battlefield tapped next turn. Even Teleria West would let him cast a Primeval Titan.
Yeah, plenty of green mana here. Stuff like Gemstone Mine won't do it, of course, because it enters untapped.
Well, Thought-Knot is going to take a look at Daryl's hand. See if he's going to respond. He's going to dismember Thought-Knot Seer with trigger on the stack. Paying 2 life and 2 mana. So Thought-Knot Seer dies. Daryl gets a card, and now you see Thragtusk, Summoner's Pact, Celestia, Sanctuary. So he has the bounce land, but Summoner's Pact doesn't do anything. Didn't correctly put that Chalice on 0. 1 Titan off the top for Daryl, though, and we are off to the races.
Even just the Engineered Explosives would be a great pickup here.
Absolutely. So draw, does he hit? Looks like he hit another Amulet.
Not the most exciting top deck here.
No, the difference between 2 and 3 Amulets is pretty minor. Both of them win almost immediately. You see Daryl's actually not going to cast the 3rd one. I think respecting maybe something like an Engineered Explosives from Dan.
Sure.
Or a Ratchet Bomb.
Not that one. Yeah, exactly.
But Dan does not have much of a follow-up. Basilisk Collar on Walking Ballista is it.
Gaining that life.
Yeah, well, it does mean he could potentially kill a Primeval Titan.
Yep.
From here, Daryl picks up Teleria West. He doesn't have double blue yet. He can put it into play. It's going to untap twice. So the reason he's putting this into play is next turn he has Primeval Titan. So he'll make the blue mana off Teleria West, blue mana off of Gemstone Mine. Then he's going to play his Celestia Sanctuary, make 4 mana off it, pick up the Teleria West, transmute it with the 2 blue. So he transmutes with its own mana, and he has enough mana left over to make the Titan. Except there's still a Summoner's Pact, so okay, he can't make the Titan through that.
He doesn't transmute 6.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can get like Walking Ballista or perhaps Engineered Explosives. He can still transmute it.
Right.
So we see that play. Blue mana off Teleria West, and then he's going to pick it up so it can spend its own blue.
What is that transmute 6 creature? There's this uncastable, horrible
Ethereal
creature.
Usher?
Yeah, Ethereal Usher. Showed up in old Hive Mind decks.
Netherborn Phalanx, if you want to have a black one.
Put that one in some draft decks. So that's fine.
Floats 2 mana off Celestia Sanctuary, or actually floats 4. And counting is going to matter here. So you see right now there's 4 mana floating. He's going to transmute the Teleria West. He has 2 green, 2 white floating.
Yeah, so if you find explosives, get it, crack get rid of the Chalice and the Ballista. And you can set up a Titan this turn.
Yeah, he actually can do everything this turn. Because he's left the colorless mana from Radiant Fountain still around, so he can get... He does have to pay an extra. Well, he's actually... Right, he might be... He's one short, isn't he?
One shy of Titaning this turn.
Yeah. So he'll pay 1 mana to cast Engineering Explosives on 1, but it sunbursts for 0.
Fun interaction. Very intuitive. But it works, I assure you.
He'll pay 2 to crack. It will hit the Walking Ballista and the Chalice of the Void. Ballista's going to shoot Daryl for 1. You're right, though, just 5 mana available. His Pact isn't going to... It won't turn into anything this turn.
If he still had that Thrag Tusk, he could be casting it, but that's not the big find here.
How about this Tireless Tracker, though? One of those two have come in out of the sideboard. Waits until the Ballista is gone before putting the creature into play.
Yep, don't want to just get that one killed.
Another Chalice on 0 from Dan. Daryl, in response, will Summoner's Pact.
That makes sense. Now, Daryl would hate to get Ghost Quartered here on his bounce land.
Yeah, well, he has...
I guess he has enough mana,
yeah,
but he won't be able... He'd still have to find another mana source for the Titan, which I guess wouldn't be too tough.
Well, he won't be able to cast the Titan this turn unless he draws a bounce land anyway.
Yeah.
But did he? We'll see. All right, Ancient Stirrings. If he finds a bounce land and it's not Boros Garrison, he's still good.
Best cantrip in Modern.
There's Simic Growth Chamber, and now we're going to get to see him go to town. All right, so land, untap. He's going to get the clue token, though. See, that matters here. Wow, just missing these clue tokens. Come on, come on.
Sloppy. Very sloppy.
These matter. You could have one. Just how many? Okay, so when you have 3 amulets, the Titans actually are Squadron Titans. So what happens is he'll get Simic Growth Chamber, Teleria West. They untap twice, or let's say 3 times, once for each amulet, so he makes 9 mana. Then he bounces the Teleria West, spends 3 of the 9 to transmute it for a Pact. Pacts, spends the other 6 mana to make a Primeval Titan. So it's just kind of free to get another Titan. Then once he's gotten 3 Titans, he can get Slayer Stronghold, Boros Garrison. It will untap 3 times, and he can give each of the Titans +2/+0 haste and vigilance.
Choking point here is Dan's Chalice on 0, which is why you see Daryl shuffling after attempting that second Summoner's Pact. See, no, it was all very exciting, and
I was excited too. Now,
I think that those Tireless Tracker triggers matter more.
How many clue tokens did we miss? Did we miss 3?
Looks like 3.
Oh no. Daryl, where are all these clues? We got to crack them.
Really top-level magic happening here.
Well, he doesn't have to pay for the Pact, at least.
That is nice.
He should still be fine as long as Dan doesn't remove the Titan, in which case then it'll really... These -3 clues are going to catch up to him.
Yeah, so the Titan gets to swing in, find a couple more lands.
Get more clues.
Yeah. Doesn't have to worry about Death Touch in combat, because he can just suit it up with Sunhome.
Right, to give it double strike.
Looks like Musser has an Ulamog. He's a bit off of casting.
Yeah, he does not have all 3 Tron pieces. That tower-looking one's actually a mine. That's one of my favorite ones. No, that's not a tower. It's literally a tower. No, it's a mine.
It's just, it's not tall enough to be a tower. There's very specific requirements.
So go over back to Daryl. Doesn't have to pay for the Pact. Says, yeah, no worry.
Be pretty nice to crack some clue tokens about now.
Well, he should still be fine. But, I mean, certainly he's making it harder on himself. Go with the Burnwells. Okay, let's see. Because he's going to get a clue token. There we go. 1.
Nailed it.
Crack the clue. Ancient Stirrings in hand. There's not too much he's looking for here.
He's already made his land drop this turn.
There is a Boros Garrison. He's probably going to leave that in the deck. You don't actually want it in your hand. You see he'll take the Vesuva. It's one of those situations where it's unclear if the Stirrings was good or bad. The Vesuva is also, you'd almost rather be left in your deck.
Right.
He will attack with both. Trigger on Titan.
Now let's see if he gets some clues in combat.
Yeah, and you see he shuffles the Sunhome to the front. Sunhome Boros Garrison makes a lot of sense. Allowing him to, he'll get a bunch of extra untaps that he doesn't really need, but it will allow him to instant speed, give either of his guys double strike. You see he gets Ghost Quarter. This makes more sense. Ghost Quarter, Sunhome. He has white mana off the Selesnya Sanctuary and red off the Gemstone Mine, so he can still use...
And he wants to save the activation for blocks. So he doesn't necessarily want either of these creatures to trade with Matter Reshaper.
What's nice is so they got the 2 lands, and then on the untapped triggers, he used the first 2 untapped triggers to crack both the clues.
Nice.
So actually was able to spend that mid-combat mana.
All right, now he's going off.
And just wait till we get the Azusa in play, and then you make a bounce land, and you make 6 mana and draw a card. It's nice.
Has the option to Ghost Quarter himself in combat if he wants to get another clue token.
And as long as he hasn't drawn the other forest, he could. My guess is he's going to try to take Dan off of Tron mana.
That's also fine.
So the 6/5 Tireless Tracker looks like it's going to be blocked by Matter Reshaper. Daryl will double strike the Tireless Tracker using Sunhome. Dan's going to take 6. First strike. Matter Shaper dies, turns into another Urza land. I think another power plant. We have 2 mines, 2 power plants from Dan.
And now the Ghost Quarter can't do anything if Dan produces a tower off the top.
No, not really. Can't even keep Dan off 10.
Because of the Eldrazi temple over there.
Right. And for good measure, Daryl's going to make the last amulet and pass.
Big draw step from Musser here.
And after draw step, Daryl's going to Ghost Quarter away the Eldrazi temple, turning it into a wastes. And reasonably, if Dan can't sweep the board this turn, Daryl will have a win next turn. He can tutor up Walking Ballista. With 4 amulets, he can make a very large Walking Ballista.
It looks like best possible play for Musser on this turn is just casting Thought Knot Seer. He has that or Reality Smasher, but doesn't have any fancy lands. Won't be able to suit them up with the Basilisk Caller here.
Here is Reality Smasher from Dan Musser. Playing it as a blocker, it is going to be difficult to block that one. And this is one of the things that's been really nice about the addition of Walking Ballista to the Amulet deck. There have been situations where Primeval Titan, even with all the lands to make him better, aren't enough to win the game previously. You know, maybe your opponent just hasn't a large enough creature. This is happening actually against Hexproof. That frequently happened. They have an 8/6, something you couldn't deal with. Because Walking Ballista gives this deck the ability to close, to really just go over the top in almost any game. Primal Titan attacking, getting Slayer's Stronghold, Boros Garrison, getting 2 clues. It's going to crack the clues straight away. We'll see. He has 4 untaps. We'll see what he wants to do with all of them. So the first untap. We'll see. He resolves the bounce trigger and puts the Radiant Fountain in his hand after spending the mana. Looks like he just... And then I'll give double strike to the Primeval Titan. and that's gonna get the game. I think what happened here is he put all the +2/+0s on the Primeval Titan, so that's just gonna make the Titan into a 14/6.
Sure.
Then you give it double strike. It doesn't matter how Dan blocks. He's done.
Yep. Yeah, giant trampling monster with double strike. Pretty healthy recipe for winning games.
So they're gonna go on to a third game. Bit of a smile on Daryl's face there. You know, played perfectly that game.
Got rewarded. A lot of tight play paying off.
Yeah. The deck can get pretty silly when you have these triple amulet plays. Certainly, as we saw there, the players will go back over to the sideboards.
This is kind of what we saw. You know, Musser doesn't have a lot of meaningful tools to leverage. Even with Chalice on 0, Daryl can just draw Titan.
Yeah, he can naturally draw a Titan. Now, Chalice for 0 plus Thought-Knot Seer can be really good in that, you know, you take a Titan and then you turn off the Pact. We did see that game that Daryl didn't have a Titan, he just had a Summoner's Pact. Now, unfortunately for Dan, Daryl naturally had the Engineered Explosives.
Yep.
It's not really a defense against that.
Right. Could try to Sorceress Spyglass it, but...
I don't dislike Spyglass, actually.
Yeah.
Just to hit Teleria West.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that it's in, and in some number of the games, that's going to end up being the play.
Yeah. Dan will be on the play, has a better chance of an early Thought-Knot Seer. Now, over at StarCityGames.com, you want to get the latest news and strategy for the SCG Tour. We have our Star City Games newsletter. It can be your source for Magic the Gathering news. It gives you highlights from the best articles of the week, where to find upcoming tournaments for the SCG Tour, invitational qualifiers, and game nights, and some exclusive articles from our authors. You can sign up for free, starcitygames.com/newsletter. And for Daryl Ayers, you normally see him in Legacy slinging lands. From Virginia Beach, Virginia, 6 open top 8s and 1 win for the 24-year-old. Had the chance to work with him a bit on this deck in the last couple weeks. Really, I think he says to play a format, he needs to find a deck that he really likes. The Amulet deck has gotten him, at least in the last month, playing Modern instead of Legacy.
He's a player that certainly had some Modern success. Won a tournament during Treasure Cruise Modern. He was the guy playing Curd Ape over Monastery Swiftspear.
That
was Legacy.
Right.
Was
Yeah.
that Legacy?
Oh man, that was a while ago. No, that was
Modern.
Modern.
It took over
that
both
was Modern.
formats. I'm trying. It was that same recipe in both formats.
Yeah, a lot of times Daryl has really been one of the pioneers of a lot of the scape shift strategies, particularly the prismatic omen builds of them.
That was a good time in Magic. 4 Ancestral Recalls in every deck. Just a level playing field. Unless, of course, you chose to play an inferior deck and lose to the 4 Ancestral Recall decks, then you probably didn't have
Legacy,
as much fun.
yeah, Treasure Cruise
Legacy
is cool.
and Modern.
Surprisingly, it was you know, in Standard, and I don't know, it was fine there.
There was that window where Jeskai Black was just a monster.
It was really good. I played a 4-color deck that didn't have blue in that format. I don't know what I was doing. Dan starting off game number 3 on Urza's Tower.
This is the tall one. That's how you know it's the tower.
Teleria West starting for Daryl. Dan makes a second Tron piece. And Sorceress Spyglass.
And Daryl already has the explosives in hand.
So he has 2 Dismembers. We'll go ahead and look at it with him. Engineered Explosives. The Pact of Negation. 2 Dismembers. Amulet of Vigor. Sakura Tribe Scout. And a Bounce Land. Simic Growth Chamber. In Daryl's situation, this hand's a little slow, but far too good to not keep. On the second turn, he can make Amulet, Simic Growth Chamber, untap the Growth Chamber, make Tribe Scout. That's probably just good. That's too good to pass up when you have Amulet and Tribe Scout. And the question will be whether or not Daryl, on that turn, will bounce the Teleria West or bounce the Simic Growth Chamber. Bouncing the Teleria West is the safe play. Bouncing the Growth Chamber is the one with a lot of potential upside, but I don't think we'll see it.
Yeah, you can make a ton of mana that way. If you're able to go another turn with the Tribe Scout. Though, good chance Musser just names Tribe Scout off of this Spyglass. If he doesn't have a Chalice on 0, then he's not really interested in the Engineered Explosives at all. Could still go for Teleria West, though.
And Daryl's hand's not great here. These dismembers are medium at best. He doesn't actually have the Titan, and he doesn't have 6 mana. I'm not entirely sure this was a keep. Just packed dismember is a lot of air.
I wouldn't know where to start keeping and mulliganing with this deck. If you think that Dan's just going to come out of the gates with Thought-Knot Seers and that's it, then this hand makes sense, but there's so much else to worry about. He does have the explosives to cover that, so in the sense that you're looking at interaction, this makes sense, but his deck not really heavy on that kind of thing.
This matchup's not about interaction.
Yeah.
I think what you want to do is look at how many cards are you away from making a Titan, and Daryl is a lot. He doesn't have the Titan, he doesn't really have 6 mana.
Sure.
Tribe Scout, Sakura Tribe Scout was the name for Dan on top of it, so they're really just sitting on Amulet and then a 1/1 for 1. If he really wants to free up the Tribe Scout, he can make explosives on 2 this turn. Instead, he's going to set Engineer Explosives on 0. Make Amulet of Vigor, make Simic Growth Chamber, untap it, pick up the Teleria West. These are cards you know about. He's drawn 1 that we don't. Mana is up for the Engineered Explosives. And he'll make the Tribe Scout. His draw for the turn actually was Primeval Titan.
Okay. With the explosives there, he's not going to be able to activate Scout.
Turn 3 Karn from Dan, though. And that's just hard to fight. And there will lose the bounce land.
Planeswalker Avalanche Riders.
And Daryl actually, a good pickup here, picked up Gruul Turf, but this is just, I mean, he's really hoping Dan has no follow-up. He plays and untaps the Teleria West.
The Karn itself, likely good enough to close this game. If you get a window to plus it twice, then you can just Stone Rain for a couple turns. Even plussing it once, you get another Stone Rain.
I would say careful here. So he's going to plus and get the Pact and Negation. Amulet is a deck that can get out of this. If Daryl draws a second Amulet of Vigor, I don't know now. 2 Reality Smashers is a lot.
It turns out that Musser had more than nothing.
Okay, well, before the second Smasher, I was going to say Daryl had a shot here. And I meant it, too. I guess Daryl can dismember one of the Smashers. No, he still can win this. Dismember, pitching Dismember. He'll go to 16 and then down to 11 on the Smasher hit.
I would like to see it.
I would, too. But
that's all I'm saying.
It's there. He has to draw another Amulet. Likely this turn. Does not. And that's going to do it. Dan Musser, 2-1. He is your winner here. Eldrazi Tron winning again. Dan now 3-0 on camera feature matches today. His deck has looked great.
The games that he won there were just natural
Turn
Tron,
3, natural
Karn,
Tron, Karn.
Destroy your bounce land. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. Tron's generally not great against combo decks, but it always has that draw. Go first and make turn 3 Karn, and that's faster than almost any combo deck.
Yep, it's a halfway point between just some random Chalice deck and some random Tron deck, and sometimes you have the draw